Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 41. Andrew Eisen here, along with Zachary Knight. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, Andrew. Hello, everybody.
So, Zachary, first question from Matthew, since you're a web developer. What do you think of the Google semantic stuff this week? Do you know what that's talking about?
I have no idea. I haven't
Okay.
been following any
Sorry,
of that.
Matthew.
I vaguely recall something about Google going on this week, but I have not followed it at all. I've been way too busy with other things.
Yeah. I've been, as I have been for the last several months, talking with Google, specifically YouTube support. Those of you who see this show embedded on the Random Tower website before we start airing, notice that the thumbnail, the preview image that's used, is a really old, really low res, like 150 by 150 low res in a window that's, I think, like at least 600 wide. And it's really ugly. Apparently, there is, due to the way this show is streamed, we use Google Hangouts so that we can talk to each other. It does the automatic camera flipping and stuff like that. Streaming video onto YouTube using Google Hangouts is the only way to stream or upload video that does not provide a change thumbnail button. There's no change thumbnail button. However, the image it's using is one of my images. So it's got to be getting it from somewhere. So I've been trying to get YouTube to just tell me where it's getting that image from, and I'll delete it or replace it with something I do want to use.
Did you check your Google Plus profile pic?
Yeah. In fact, that's what it. The image it's using is not actually it's the thumbnail image from the Nintendo "Why Won't You Let Me Give You My Money" video. But it's not actually that thumbnail image, because that one's 480. This is the lower res one I created to use as that small little profile image, which I stopped using years ago, and I have since deleted it from every single place I can find it. So unless YouTube's algorithm somehow said, okay, select an image at random, the oldest, lowest res thing you can possibly find, and then hard code it somewhere so that it can never be changed. I mean, if that's the case, that's phenomenally dumb.
Yes,
at least just tell me that and stop wasting my time for month after month.
That's what I think, and it's like when I did the podcast by myself, I did it through my Random Tower YouTube channel, as well as my Random Tower Google Plus page, just as because just trying to keep things compartmentalized on my YouTube channels, and I believe it used my Google Plus profile pic, which was the Random Tower logo, and that's what I get when I do a live stream on YouTube now. Through that, I haven't done a live stream using something else though, so I don't know if it's what it would be for, say, my Divine Knight Gaming YouTube channel or anything like that, because I haven't done anything like that for. I haven't done any live streaming there.
So YouTube support is, in my life's experience, the second worst support staff I've ever had the displeasure of working with. Not the worst, but second worst.
Is the worst one your ISP?
Actually, no. Although my ISP keeps calling me at work to ask if, to offer me deals. I'm like, I'm at work. I don't have time for this. I'm like, stop. I keep telling him, stop calling me at work. I know that's business hours. Send me an email. But I keep telling him, I'm like, look, If you want to lower the price of my internet bill, feel free. Without degrading the service, if you just want to charge me less for the service I have now, you have my permission to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to upgrade my service at no extra charge, give me faster uploads or faster downloads at no extra charge, you don't need my permission for that. Go ahead. I won't mind, honest.
Yeah.
But otherwise, leave me alone. Arg. For anyone who's interested, the worst customer service experience I ever had was a company called Rareflix, which was kind of a Netflix competitor back in the time, only they, as you could probably infer from the name, focused on titles that Netflix definitely wouldn't have. More cult films and foreign stuff. They actually had a nice selection. Unfortunately, their service was absolute crap, and it took me a little over a year to get my money back after they kept billing me after I canceled. And
yeah, that's really annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like $20, but I'm like, that's my $20. So, Peter asks thoughts on the Senate thingy about ISPs being allowed to sell our history. Oh, well, if the current administration has its druthers, net neutrality is out the window. Whole
basically,
whole thing.
Well,
so,
they've already Trump's appointment to the FCC the FCC has already stopped enforcing net neutrality, and this was another thing on the cutting block, and no, forget the word. The list that ISPs of things ISPs really want is they want that out of the way, those rules out of the way, so that they can make more money off of us and sell advertising, and not just that, but really get some creepy stuff. Did you ever see the movie Minority Report?
Well, I'm familiar with it. Never seen it though.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's a scene in there where the main character gets his eyes replaced because your eyes have these like everything tracks your eyes, and basically all over the place. Like if you go through a mall, there's remote eye scanners everywhere that scan your eyes and figure out everything, and then they check a database about everything about you, and then they display ads specifically targeted at you that only you can see, and it's very, very crazy stuff. But yeah, he got his eyes replaced with some old Asian man, and so everything was in Korean or something like that, and it was hilarious. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that ISPs and advertisers really want for your internet browsing. So yeah, so unless you want to get advertisements for all time about some softcore porn thing that you accidentally searched for on Amazon for the rest of your life, don't do that.
I didn't accidentally search for it, but I don't need to be reminded about it.
Yeah, well, it's like one of the people I follow on Twitter. She had posted some stuff. She was laughing at these outfits on Amazon, and so I clicked through the link just to see what it was, and I started seeing that in all of my Google advertising. I'm just like, yeah, I shouldn't have clicked that link. But
you know what YouTube recommends to me? The bulk of my YouTube recommendations are my own videos, and I'm not sure which way to take that. I don't know if YouTube's trying to tell me something, or it's like, yes, I know. I've seen them. They're great. Or if YouTube is like, trying to discipline me by, like a puppy trying to push the nose in the puddle of pee or something. It's like, look what you've done, Andrew. Look at what you've done. Bad Andrew. Look at these videos. Look at bad Andrew. Bad YouTuber. I'm not sure. But they keep recommending I watch a video. I'm like, hey, I remember that one. I'll watch it again.
What really frustrates me is that say I'll watch a feminist frequency video, like one of her tropes and games,
and then you get
videos, and then I get every
people harping on her.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like,
watch
seriously? So I physically go through and click click not interested on every single one, just so I can hopefully tune YouTube to not ever recommend that kind of garbage to me.
Yeah, the problem is it's like I'm really not interested in angry, ranty, anti this, anti that, anti whatever type of content, and YouTube doesn't really seem to get it. I mean, you watch a tropes versus women video, and YouTube's like, oh, you must want to hear what everyone else thinks about that video. I'm like, no, I don't. I watched it. I formed my own opinion. I'm good. Okay, I don't need to know what anyone else thought. So,
but so I try to keep my YouTube viewing relevant to my interests, because otherwise I get way out there stuff, and if I start watching a video that I just do not like and I stop, I go into my history and remove it, because I don't want to see any recommendations based on that. So
and that's the problem with the algorithm is almost certainly based on keyword stuff. So it's like, oh, Anita Sarkeesian, definitely. Here's something else with Anita Sarkeesian. And since a lot of the videos that aren't from feminist frequency about Anita Sarkeesian are from haters, that's the majority of what you're going to get. We hear you're interested in this, so that's like, no, don't want.
YouTube needs to adopt a Netflix style advertising system where it's well, people who watch this video also watch these other videos related to it, because then you would know, then those videos, anti-Anita Sarkeesian videos, would never show up, because nobody that watches those actually watch the feminist frequency.
Right. So it would say, oh, I see you clicked like on this video. Well, other people who clicked like on this videos clicked like on this video. So, that way, I don't think any of the Anita's the scum of the earth kind of people's clicked like on any of her videos. In fact, they probably clicked dislike, unless she disabled like and dislike.
I think like and dislike is
not a thing you can disable.
I don't think it is.
I don't remember.
I know she's disabled comments, but that's I don't think you can disable liking. Yeah, you might be able to. I haven't ever checked, but.
I made an Anita Sarkeesian video once about her tropes versus women stuffs, and I made the mistake. It was called My Favorite Thing About Anita Sarkeesian's Tropes versus Women videos, and I made the unfortunate mistake of releasing it on April 1st. It wasn't supposed to be an April Fool's Day video. It just, that's when I happened to finish it and uploaded it. I finished it on March 31st, and then by the time I uploaded it, it had rolled over past midnight. I didn't even realize it till the next day. I'm like, oh, everyone's going to think this is some weird April Fool's joke. I don't really have a thing I like about her videos. I'm like, oh, poop. So yeah, word to the wise, unless you're making an April Fool's joke, just don't upload anything on April 1st. You're just asking for it. Tassidarchy says you can hide the number of likes versus dislikes. Oh, okay.
Okay, that's cool.
But the like-dislike button may still be there. You just
I think so.
Okay, so it's the statistics you can hide. So okay.
Something before we get into the topics, just something cool that I found today at Goodwill.
Ooh.
Pokemon Stadium. I found this $8 at Goodwill, and I was just like, sweet. And unfortunately, it does not have the transfer pack.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing is it has Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2.
How did that happen? Did you know that before you bought it? Or did you just
I asked him because it was taped shut, and I asked him, can I open this up to see what's in it? Because I wanted to make sure that I was actually buying something. Unfortunately, the box has a big, massive tear on the back, so that really, really reduces the value of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have something cool in here. a Blockbuster coupon to get a poster for some stickers, and so,
Nice.
that's super cool. I just thought this was a really awesome find today, and I wanted to share that with you guys. But yeah, I just thought that was super cool. I wish I had the transfer pack though, because and the manual, of course, because that
Back,
would have
yeah, back in
totally.
the that would have been later '90s. So
Yeah.
I was playing Pokemon Stadium with my cousin, who at the time was around 10 or something like that, and uh, he unfortunately at the time anyway was kind of treated by everyone. Everyone just kind of assumed he was a
Hmm.
slow child, a dumb child, to the point where he believed it. And so he never tried in school because everyone told him he was a challenged child, and so he was convinced he was an idiot, and so he never tried. So I was playing a Pokemon Stadium with him, and also saying, "Oh, he's got a ADD." I'm like, "No, he doesn't. He's playing Pokemon Stadium and totally tuning you out." He's a normal child. That's not ADD. But we were playing Pokemon Stadium, and he was doing just basic math in his head. He was subtracting. He would look at the full HP, see what an attack did, and then calculate in his head how much HP he had left. Or he would do subtractions in his head to
Yeah.
figure out how to play the game. I'm like, you're not stupid. I mean, that's basic subtraction, but you're not an idiot. So stop. So Pokemon Stadium taught him. I hope that he's
Yeah.
not an idiot and he can do basic math.
Yeah.
So Scotty J is going to listen to us while playing Splatoon 2. It's the global test
Nice.
fire, isn't it? And I think that's going
That's
on right now. I tried the Wii U Global Test Fire, all four of them, and could not connect to a single match. I never, ever once got to play it. Although I did get to play the little mini game that plays on the gamepad while you're waiting to connect to a match, but it's a
yeah.
little bouncy, jumpy game. But anyway. Okay, so first topic is the Justice League trailer came out today. And
Yes,
I
it
would
did.
like I was like, okay, Justice League, sure, sure, sure. Where's my screen share? And application window, scroll down. Here is the very one. It's like the first couple of seconds of the trailer. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is snow.
Or at least it's supposed to be snow.
I got 1 second into the I think this is the first frame of the trailer, and I immediately stopped it and started complaining on Twitter. um,
Yeah.
because stop. There we go. Because oh my God, DC. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not just DC. It's a lot of Hollywood movies. It's like blue and orange are the only colors you can ever use. Snow is supposed to be white. Glacier
Yeah.
ice is blue. Some snow is yellow. Don't eat that stuff. But snow is white.
Well, snow can be gray too, but usually that's only around roads
Like
and
around
stuff
the
where your
road,
car
the
is. Yeah.
volcano erupts or something. But oh God, the whole trailer is like that. The whole
Oh yeah. The
trailer is
trailer
like
is
that.
just
It's
it's
gray and blue
dark
and
and
orange and
yeah.
dull.
They've saturated out all of the color. I think the brightest thing in the trailer is Wonder Woman's costume. Not even the Flash's costume is bright, but
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's costume is still like the colors are still dull and flat, and
Mhm.
it's just the only reason it's bright is because the metal is supposed to be gold, and that's what brightens her costume up.
Yeah. Even the color grading is kind of turning her outfit into kind of a burnt red and a burnt
Yeah, like
gold
a
and
maroon, and yeah, it's a very dark, like dyed maroon leather look
mhm.
with gold trim, and it's not like shiny gold like you would see in jewelry. It's like gold with I don't know something to dull it, maybe
Yeah.
like a brushed gold look, kind of like you'd see a brushed nickel
Yep.
um, kitchen hardware, but
It's so dark and devoid of color that Aqua Bro, I can't tell what color he's supposed to be. He looks like black and white. I don't know what
yeah.
color he's supposed
Every
to
scene
be.
he's in is just it is it almost looks black and white, and yeah, there. I think maybe you can make out some green and orange on him,
Yeah.
but it's not apparent at all. Like they did not even try to make it look comic accurate. And
Yeah.
of course, the orange and green is kind of an obnoxious color
Well,
scheme,
yeah. I mean,
but
fine. Reinterpret the character. I'm being, I'm picking on them, calling him Aqua Bro, but reinterpret the character. Fine. He could be fun. He could be funny. It's fine. But
yeah.
I'm looking at him
I
like I
do
have no
like
idea what color you are.
yeah,
And
I do
Cyborg,
like
that effect
Jason
is not
Momoa.
working.
Oh yeah, so
I hope they're not done with it yet, because that is not working at all.
well, from what I read, I was reading some of the YouTube comments, and people who watched the Comic-Con footage
Mhm.
of Cyborg, and the Comic-Con footage was really bad too for his design. They said that there was a marked improvement in the CGI, and it's likely to improve further in post-production.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Hopefully they're still working on that, because it's not there yet.
yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I really like Jason Momoa, and I hope that his and what little we've seen of his interpretation, or the DC movie interpretation of Aquaman, he looks like he could be a fun character if
Yeah.
used
Yeah.
well, and probably would be I almost said the life of the party, but more like the comic relief. It seems like he would be the snarky, sarcastic guy instead of the Flash doing that. Or they might actually compete for which one can be the most snarky and sarcastic. But the Flash may end up just being the audience viewpoint character, because he seems to be the youngest and more millennial type character, so he may be the audience viewpoint character. Which you know might be okay, but I really hope that they don't go that route with him, because I like the Flash. He's one of my favorite DC Comics characters.
Well, that's just visually how it looks.
Yeah.
And DC has done this with all their films, and a lot of films suffer from this. Even Marvel's films suffer from over color grading it to an extent. It's certainly not as bad as DC, but
yeah, there was an article a while back that pointed out the fact that there is no true black in Marvel movies. Like nothing is actually like 0, 0, 0, 0 on the gradient scale. Everything is like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 or something. It's like almost black, but not quite black, and which I never noticed before until that was pointed out, and I was like, wow, because the person who wrote the article also did a color update. Like he took the airport scene from Civil War, and then put colorized it so that there was actual true black in there, and you could tell the difference. And
Civil War I've only seen once, but as I recall, it's not overly that whole damn blue and orange thing. It's just desaturated a bit, that may have been done just because of the tone of that specific movie, and that's fine. I mean, for example, you think all the way back to The Matrix. Everything in The Matrix has a green tint to it. Well, that's on purpose, because it's The Matrix. It makes it look like there's something off. It makes it feel different, and that's a good use of color grading. But man, I remember when they started digital color corrections back in the very early 2000s. I think one of the big films to really start doing it was the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and they used it to make really pretty stuff. Green greens of the Shire, and and it was gorgeous. And nowadays it's like blue and orange. Got to make it blue so the orange pops. Everything's got to be dull and gray and brown, and blue and orange are the only colors. Even the Wonder Woman trailer suffers from this something fierce.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman this trailer does, and it's really sad. Wonder Woman comes out this year, right? I'm trying to think
Yeah, I think
when
so.
it comes out.
Yeah,
I think it comes out
I'm pretty
May.
sure that's first. I
Yeah.
think that comes out before Justice League.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm really looking forward to the Wonder Woman movie, but I'm
yeah,
probably not going to watch that in theaters
yeah, probably not.
because
I'm gonna wait for
Guardians
the
of the
reviews.
Galaxy 2 comes out, and I really want to watch that. But
Yeah, I'm excited for all the Marvel stuff. Wonder Woman, I'm hoping it's good. DC's burned me so many times. I'm just waiting for the reviews.
yeah,
Just to see what the consensus is, because I there are a lot of reviewers whose tastes I trust and agree with. So, um,
yeah,
I have checked some of this stuff out. I saw Man of Steel. I don't like it. It's got some moments that are fine, but overall it doesn't work as a
yeah.
film.
No.
Saw a lot of Batman versus Superman on an airplane, and had decided I had better things to do on the airplane than watch that movie because it was just kind of terrible. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh man, the movie's not that bad, isn't it? Then I was started watching on the plane. I'm like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
is that
It's pretty
terrible?
bad. And it
So,
had some good scenes in there, but for the vast majority of it is just bad. And the thing with the Batman v Superman movie is that anything with Superman in it and anything with Batman and Superman together were like the worst parts of the movie.
how do you
And
even?
it's like, how do you do that? You know, the
Yeah.
stuff with Batman on his own, most of that was pretty good. And but anytime Batman interacted with the greater DC universe, it turned out pretty bad and annoying. Now the final fight when they got the three together, yeah, that had some better moments in it, but it was still just as bad as everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's all ignoring the whole Lex Luthor stuff, which was absolutely completely awful, terrible.
Kudos for trying to do something completely unexpected and different, but didn't work
It did not work for a
at
Lex
all.
Luthor style
No,
character, and
no.
this is
And
yeah, this
Alexa,
was
well, the everything about that movie just doesn't work. The characters, the plot, the motivation, just nothing works.
yeah.
Uh, so,
Yeah.
and you might wonder, Andrew, why are you so passionate about this? It's because I want good Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman. I like superhero movies. I want them to be
Yes,
good,
they
and
are
they're
good,
not.
and they can be,
And
as
they can be, absolutely.
we have seen from multiple directors that both of those can be good. We have the Christopher Reeve
A lot of the
Superman
DC animated
movie.
slates is great.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
they
yeah,
made
and
a pretty good Wonder Woman animated film.
yeah. The Wonder Woman animated film was really good. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was probably one of my favorites out of all of them.
Right.
But you know, we have the Christopher Reeves Superman, which are really good. We have Batman with Michael Keaton. That's really good. And then the Christopher Nolan films. You know, that people consider those the epitome of Batman films. And you know,
I'm still
personally, I like
mad
the
on Nolan films.
yeah, I like
I like the
I like
first two-thirds of Batman Begins. It's about it.
yeah, but yeah, but there is just a ton of garbage out there in the DC movie front, and it's hard to just really like what they're doing
Yeah, well, the
because
movies aren't good.
yeah, and
Even if they have
it's really
characters
what
that
it
I
is.
like, the
Yeah,
movies just aren't good. Peter says, referring to the Wonder Woman movie, it's World War One, so of course there's going to be dirt and rubble everywhere, and that's true. You know, bombed out London or something, I expect smoke and brown and rubble, but
yeah.
even Themyscira suffers from
Yeah,
this problem.
you would think that they would do like a
A
Wizard of Oz
contrast,
type
yeah,
thing, a
exactly.
contrast where Themyscira is a tropical type island, lots of bright
A
colors
paradise
and a
untouched
paradise.
by
Yeah,
man's war and destruction and stuff. It's supposed to have blue skies and blue waters and white sands and green grass and shrubbery. No, it is
no,
washed out as hell. The white buildings and stuff are just kind of this dull gray. The, I, there's long shot of Themyscira, and it took me a while of actually going back and looking through it before I noticed the waterfall into the lake against the green, because the green and the blue were kind of that should pop.
yeah,
There's a sunset over there, and it's kind of this mustard yellow. This should be like, I want to retire there. Or maybe it's completely thematically appropriate for the movie. I don't know, but from a trailer, the whole thing is samey and ugly.
Yeah,
and the poster for Justice League sucks too.
Yeah, and okay.
Not just from color, but from a design and layout standpoint.
My biggest complaint about that poster is that stupid random lens flare by Batman's feet. It's like, what the crap is that doing there?
Here it is, by the way.
It is a complete. Yeah, it's just it's right there between Batman and Aquaman's knees is this stupid lens flare that makes absolutely no sense. I think it's supposed to be a sunset, but it's just stupid.
That's supposed to be the sun behind them, but everything about this, from the way they're filling space, the dead space at the top, the posing at the bottom, the stupid lens flare, the terrible font they're using, and the sizing of the Unite in the this is just from a design standpoint, it's terrible. This is just crap. And DC Warner should be ashamed of themselves. Shame.
Yeah. But in the comments, we have some interesting things. Trey Holmes says, "Am I the only person who liked Man of Steel?" Yes, yes, you are.
Few people like it. I mean, they were watching Zod and Superman punch each other in and of itself is fun.
Yeah,
I mean, even I can find things to like in the Transformers movies because robots are cool, but just overall as a film, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and then Gas Can on Fire, you're new, welcome.
I like the name.
Says, is that the one that had Shaq? Which made me laugh. I love that comment. Shaq was actually in his own movie called Steel, which is about a junkyard Iron Man, basically.
Isn't that supposed to be John Henry Irons?
John Henry Irons is the character's name, and he adopts the Steel persona during the death of Superman, in the comics at least. In the movie, he just becomes a junkyard Iron Man to fight crime in Harlem or wherever he was. The movie just totally did not work at all, but it had absolutely nothing to do with the Superman storyline. It was just a standalone film. Mm-hmm. But there was some definite cheese in there that made it fun to watch, but it was just not a good movie at all overall, which is part of the course for any movie starring Shaq.
Well, yeah. So, okay. So the movie, it doesn't really tell you much about what the movie is going to be about, or really how these characters are going to play off each other much.
Yeah. Doesn't.
The camaraderie. It's just a mismatch of scenes, which is why I'm focusing so heavily on what it looks like, because it's about all you can get of it. You get a few cute lines here and there.
Yeah.
There are parademons. I'm guessing a mother box just.
Yeah, there's at least one mother box there, and then a few scenes fighting the parademons, which have to do with the mother box, but nothing to describe in any way the overall plot other than monsters are coming and we need to form a team.
We need to punch them until they go away, back to Apocalypse.
Yeah, pretty much. But there's a couple of good lines in there, and really it's just Batman and other characters playing off each other and basically making fun of Batman in it. But
what's your superpower? I'm rich.
Yeah. It's like, and then Aquaman shows up on top of the roof with Batman and Commissioner Gordon. He says, "Oh,
hey, you dress like a bat.
Dress like a bat." Yeah, and then to a question, do you? Commissioner Gordon asks Batman, says to Batman, "Oh, you're playing nice with others now." And then after that comment, Batman turns to Commissioner Gordon. It's like, might be temporary, which was good. I like that.
I mean, some levity's nice, but we'll see how it works in context.
Those might be the only.
I want it to be good, but I don't like the design at the very least.
But those might be the only two jokes in the entire film. So they spoiled all the funny bits.
Well, there's that scene where Bruce Wayne chucks a batarang at Barry Allen. I've seen an extended version of that scene, and it's cute.
Yeah, out of Comic-Con, yeah. But
Peter says, well, Trey says he doesn't like Cyborg. It looks too CGI. Yeah, and the design's too busy too. Peter says, I don't know much about DC, so it's confusing how Cyborg looks normal in the trailer scene, but like a cyborg on the poster. Is he disguised Terminator style? My guess is that he becomes
No.
Cyborg later in the film.
Yeah, in Batman v Superman, in the found footage stuff that Batman is given,
The most
and
ham-fisted universe building I have ever seen in any superhero movie
pretty
ever.
much, yeah, it's like we're making a Justice League movie. Here's stuff about it, but it shows how he becomes Cyborg. Basically, he fuses with a mother box, and that's his new 52 origin. Is that he's a paraplegic or something like that, he's basically was in an accident that he lost both his legs, one of his arms, and half his chest or something like that, and his dad's trying to figure out a way to cure him, and then ends up fusing him with a mother box, and that's how he becomes Cyborg. And in the trailer, it shows a few things, like he has half a face, like half cyborg, half normal face, and then in the trailer it shows like a full blown robot mask going across his face.
Like he's gonna go flying through space or something.
Yeah, so
cool.
It'll be interesting to see his power set, but he's definitely not like his Teen Titans version.
Yeah.
If you ever watched the Teen Titans cartoon show, he's nothing like that.
Yeah. Gas Can on Flambe says, if you want good Batman v Superman, watch the animated Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. It's a great adaptation of that story. I'll tell you what one I like better. Watch the World's Finest 3-parter from the Superman animated series, which is a Batman
that's
and
another
Superman, good 3-parter, and it's really, really good.
Yes.
Basically, Joker and Lex Luthor team up, and so Batman travels to Metropolis and shenanigans ensue. It's great. Okay, so let us move on to a new topic, but keeping the superhero theme. Zachary, I hear you've seen Iron Fist now, the new Marvel Netflix show.
I watched it.
So I talked about the first 5 episodes, or actually first 4, and then like 12 minutes of episode 5 last week, basically saying that I have finished the series. Okay. So we may be spoiling stuff here, folks. So just warning.
I will try to keep spoilers down, but I am going to mention some stuff from the second half of the season. But I will try to keep it as vague as possible whenever I can.
So my big issue was that, especially in the first 4.25 episodes, Danny Rand is a completely insufferable, unlikable human being, and that really hurt the show for me.
And that does not change at all throughout the entire series. Danny Rand is the worst part about Iron Fist, which is saying a lot. He's the title character, and he is. You don't want to watch this for Danny Rand at all. He has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, and
he's not even good at kung fu. Even the characters in the show keep telling him, "Man, you suck as an Iron Fist." I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah, it's like his best friend from Kunlun shows up, and it's like, "You're the worst Iron Fist ever," and I'm like, yeah.
Man, and then oh, you suck as an Iron Fist.
Yeah, everybody is telling him that he's the worst Iron Fist ever, and it's true. And it's like there was another scene.
Hand leader says, "Man, you're not a very good Iron Fist."
Well, there was another scene where somebody said, for a guy who says that he can't be hit, he sure gets hit a lot. And I think that was a sequence. I'm trying to remember all this stuff, but yeah, he's just I think one of the biggest things about this, the biggest problems I have is that it's a show about kung fu that's afraid to be a kung fu show. And you can see that in the first 5 episodes, because it's a lot of corporate drama.
Nothing happened. The plot does not start until 5 episodes in.
Yeah,
It
and
actually
it's
picks
just
up around episodes 5, 6, 7. That
yeah.
chunk in the middle there, it's like, oh, this is what the story is going to be, and then you're like, oh, this is what the story's going to be. All right,
Exactly.
we've
This,
we've got 6 more episodes of this.
yeah, you know, Daredevil seasons 1 and 2, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage all have pretty clear story going into them,
Hmm.
and it's you know what this is all going to be about. Daredevil season 2 kind of broke that into 2 parts. One with featured a lot of the
Front-loaded
Punisher,
Punisher, and then
and
the
and
Electra
then
hand stuff.
yeah, and so it was kind of a 2 story arc thing there. But at the beginning of each arc, you got a good idea of what this whole arc was going to be about. Jessica Jones, the same. Luke Cage, the same. Even though, with Luke Cage, the villain changed halfway through, you at least knew this was happening during the first half because you knew about Copperhead. Copperhead was the main villain of the first half, and then throughout the first half, it made reference to Diamondback and how Copperhead was afraid of Diamondback, and then that led you into the second half of the season. Even though I think Diamondback was the lesser villain of the two, from Luke Cage,
Wasn't it
but with
wasn't as
yeah,
interesting. That's true.
not as interesting at all because he just kind of came out of the blue and was like, "I'm your brother," But it's like what? But with Iron Fist though, at no point at all during the first 2/3 of this, at no point was it revealed what the main conflict was, who the main villain was. It was just all Danny Rand walking around with a confused look on his face, having no idea what to do. It's like he left Kunlun. Why did he leave Kunlun? We don't
We
know.
still
We
don't
never
know.
find out. And it's like, okay, you're back at Rand. What are you going to do at Rand? Well, I'm going to screw over my childhood friends, not listen to them at all, wave my 51% of the company around in everybody's face, everything up. And it's like, okay, everything, and then there you get into the hand stuff, and it's just the hand stuff he just kind of stumbles upon. It's
Yeah.
not something he actually sought out. There's not an actual conflict that he's trying to resolve that has to do with the Rand or with the hand. It's just everything, and he just, so all of this just kind of falls apart, and then at the end you get this scene where he's fighting somebody who doesn't even have magical powers or super abilities, and it's like
Old dude in a business suit.
he fights an old dude in a business suit and gets sick. It's like he gets.
Here's the weird
Go
thing:
ahead.
the old dude in the business suit that he fights at the end of the series. It's established throughout the show that this guy works out excessively and can like punch a hole through a hanging heavy bag. And
Yeah.
so in the final conflict, he just uses a gun.
Yeah,
And there's one point in the fight where Danny Rand like punches him and knocks him to the ground and then runs away. It's like what are you doing?
I know. It's like,
what?
put him in an arm lock at least,
Something.
But
Kick
yeah,
him.
it's like,
Get the gun. Do something.
but it is established that the
Give
guy
him a
he ends up
proper
fighting in the
iron
last
fisting.
episode is strong and also very capable in hand-to-hand combat, because there's an earlier scene where he's with a personal trainer doing some hand-to-hand combat. It's not martial arts, but I think it's just boxing type stuff, but he never actually uses that later on, and
never.
It's just all guns, and so he's just this series is definitely the weakest link of the entire
absolute nadir of the entire Marvel live action experiment, and I'm including the movies, the television show, and the Netflix stuff.
Yeah, it's Yeah, I really don't know. Colleen Wing as a character, she is probably the strongest. Her and Ward Meacham
You know
have
what?
some really
I
good
liked Ward.
characterization. Yeah, Ward was actually a really cool character,
He's
and
an interesting character with a very unique character progression and arc.
yeah,
I probably wouldn't care much about him in a good show, but since Danny Rand was insufferable to me, I was like, let's get back to Ward. Let's see what Ward's doing. Ward, I'm like, I like this character because Ward is a guy who you know where I really fell in love with this character where it's in like episode 3 or so.
hmm
He's talking with his sister Joy. These are the two kids who have been running Rand Enterprises since they were 20 or teenagers or something. They've been running it since they were old enough to run it. um, Ward's talking with his sister and he's like, you ever thought about just leaving? And she's like, well, you know, I don't know. I worked really hard to be here. And Ward, in not so many words, but says that I'm, if you'll come with me, I am absolutely willing to just walk away from all of this. I know we'll lose everything, but we can just start over. And it's perfectly delivered. You can totally see that he wants out. He does not want to be under his father's thumb. He wants to live his own life, even if it means giving up his fortune. He will walk away with this, but he won't abandon his sister. And I'm like, this is a guy who goes to some dark places and does some irredeemable stuff, but you understand him, and there's actually a character here and an arc and a
yeah.
story and
He
an end.
has he has
Great.
motivation. He has a history that you can relate to.
Hmm.
Even if you're not the owner of a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
corporation,
Yeah.
you can at least relate to him as a person who has family drama, and yeah, he has a really great arc. He's there. He's running Rand Corporation, and all of a sudden, Danny shows up threatening the business. And it's like nobody's sure if Danny's actually Danny. He's just like, this
Danny's been
guy
officially legally dead for 15 years, and
for
some weird
15
guy
years. Yeah.
with no shoes just suddenly shows up and it's like, I'm back, taking over the company. Well, of course, no one believes you. And
Yeah.
he can't
And
seem to understand that you're going to have to use some finesse here, buddy. For a guy who
and
lived in a
and so
monastery for 15 years, he's not very zen past about episode
no,
5.
he's not.
He's like,
But yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, dude, meditate or something. Jeez.
Yeah, but but Ward, I like Ward because
Yeah.
he's actually trying to think about things realistically. It's like, okay, some random dude shows up claiming he's Danny. Okay, this is happening at a time that's very sensitive to our business operations and could derail some purchases that we have going on. And so he understands that, and so he tries to get to cover this up. He tries to pay Danny off to get him to just leave him all alone. And then Danny keeps pushing and ends up getting his 51% of the company back. And then it just all falls apart from there. And it's all Danny's fault.
Yeah.
Seriously. Everything that happens to Rand Corporation is Danny's fault. And Danny can't see that. And everybody else is just like, shut up, Danny. Just go to your office. Don't talk to anybody and let us run this business. But no,
Yeah.
Danny doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, I've read a lot of reviews in this show, and a lot of them complain about the corporate family drama of the Meachams, Ward and Joy. And I get the point, but they're so much more likable and interesting than Danny Rand that I honestly didn't mind.
Yeah, I know.
I
It's
think
like
really
you
the
gotta,
biggest the biggest issue for me
yeah.
was Danny Rand is just a irredeemably lousy, unlikable human being. And I'm
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
about
And
flawed characters. Ward is flawed. Colleen is flawed. As I mentioned
Luke
last week.
Cage is flawed, and Daredevil is flawed.
Oh,
Luke
yeah, yeah.
Cage,
Oh,
yeah, from the
absolutely.
other show. It's like everybody has flaws, but it's those flaws that make them who they are that makes them such a relatable or likable character.
Right.
But Danny's flaws just drive you nuts because his flaw is that he's completely stupid.
Well, he's awful, and he just can't. He has no ability to self-reflect. He can't understand that. I made this observation on Twitter, but you've seen the movie Thor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember the scene in the coffee shop where he's drinking coffee and he's like, "This is delicious," and he smashes the cup on the ground and says, "Another," and they're like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing?" He's like, "What? It was delicious. I want more." And Jane Foster's like, "You could ask," and I did. It's like, "But you smashed it." He's like, "I meant no disrespect." She says, "Of course, but that's not what we do here. Promise me you won't do that again." He says, "You have my word." So Thor is a visitor from a completely different culture and exercises what is culturally appropriate where he comes from. Someone he's sitting with tells him that ain't cool here, and he doesn't get snippy or defensive. He questions, but he listens, he accepts, and he abides by the culture that he is a guest in. And it speaks to his character. It makes Thor a cool guy. Danny Rand in that situation would get totally defensive and blame Jane Foster for not understanding that he didn't mean any offense by that. That's the kind of awful douchebag that Danny Rand is.
Yeah. So, we got a couple of comments here. Trey Holmes, he asks, does it at least get you pumped for the second season? Second season of Iron Fist? No. No. I'm not at all pumped for Iron Fist. Well, Defenders is the next series on the list to be made. And if they can
maybe that will give it a jumping off point for a great second season.
Yeah, if they can redeem Danny Rand in Defenders and make him a likable character, maybe Luke Cage will like punch him in the head and knock some sense into him. But unless that happens, I have no interest at all in a second season of Iron Fist. But Colleen Wing definitely should show up. This was something that was talked about on
character got
a couple of websites,
a few instances, but I enjoyed the character.
Her character, and then the cop from Luke Cage, and I'm trying to remember the cop's
Misty
name
Knight.
now. They actually team up in the comics, and they're called the
Daughters of the Dragon.
And everybody's just like, you know what? They've got both of those characters fleshed out. Let's get a Daughters of the Dragon series.
Oh, absolutely.
Before we do an Iron Fist season 2.
I hope she gets her bionic arm first, or in the show or something.
That
was the weirdest part of Luke Cage. They totally set that up, and then no, my arm's fine. It's
like multiple times. It's like she hurt her right arm multiple times in the series, and each time she just kind of walks it off.
I totally thought she was going to catch one of those exploding bullets in her arm, and it was going to blow off.
Oh yeah,
my god,
that was my thought too. That would have been cool.
That didn't happen.
But they also seem to be setting it up for Claire Temple to actually join that team up as well, because she's been getting some martial arts training, and then she got those claws and the bottle of, or in the battle with the hand and stuff, and so it's like she's becoming a very capable character as well, and I liked Claire Temple in this series too.
So. Rosario Dawson has charisma to spare.
Yes.
Joshua says Harold Meacham was an amazing villain, only good part of the show. I liked a lot about that character. I thought he worked fine. He just needed to be in a better show, and they set stuff up with him that never paid off. It's nothing against the character of the actor.
Really a villain, though.
Harold Meacham?
Villain, though.
Well...
He was an antagonist, a very clear antagonist, but not a villain antagonist. So it's like, the opposing team at a football game is not your villain. They're your antagonist.
He did some pretty villainous stuff at the very end, but for the most part, he was just looking out for himself and his family. And the mystery about, wait, why is he alive? Why is he in the tower? Why is there someone watching him? That was some interesting stuff, and the payoff wasn't as interesting as I was hoping. But I there was not everything. Really, the biggest problem with the show is Iron Fist. There's some stuff that could have worked, but really, I mean, like we were talking about Colleen Wing. Really, the only problem I had with her character is the writers forced her to fall in love with Danny Rand, which I don't believe for a minute she would ever do.
Yeah, because
he's terrible.
Yeah, he was not a likable character.
She's like, go away. Okay. And he comes back. She's, I told you to go away. Go away. And he comes back, takes over one of her classes, and strikes one of her students. And she's like, oh my God, piss off. And he comes back again, interrupts another one of her classes. I love you now. What?
Yeah. Hers was the least believable love interest of all the shows. I could believe Matt Murdock and what's his assistant's name now? I'm trying to remember her name now.
Paige?
Yeah. Right? Paige, yeah. I could see them hooking up before Colleen and Iron Fist based on the first few episodes of Iron Fist. It was just, not a believable love.
Well, I mean, it would have been fine if Danny's character wasn't written to be just a lousy human being. And it's
stupid, yeah.
And I make that parallel to Thor. Thor, came from he didn't grow up on Earth for 10 years and then leave and grow up in Asgard and come back. He'd never been to Earth before. I mean, he'd heard of the place, but he was unfamiliar with the culture. Danny doesn't have that excuse. He grew up in New York as a rich kid, and then he lived in a monastery for 10 years. And it wasn't like when he was a baby, he was 10 years old. He was old enough to understand culture and decent human behavior.
Yes, definitely. He should have been able to fall back on those 10 years of his early childhood. Of course, a child is going to not understand everything that's going on.
Oh, sure.
But they should understand, I've got a 10-year-old. Well, she's 11 now, but I've also got a 9-year-old. And my 9-year-old has more sense than Danny Rand did.
Well, as a kung fu master, he should definitely know better and have enough respect for the art form that you don't take over someone else's class, condescend to the master of the place, and strike one of the students.
There's
that. That's Cobra Kai, bullpucky. Only the Cobra Kai bad guys do crap like that. That's not our hero. He should know better than that. So frustrating.
Oh, well.
So, Harry-san Dedorito says, what does your shirt say? Well, mine's blank. Yours is Star Wars, I think.
Yeah, mine is Star Wars Rogue One. I actually managed to pick this up.
Oh, it's
this really cool retro style shirt that I saw at Walmart, and I just had to have. So I managed to get it today. I was very excited.
Well, now that I have Netflix for another month, I guess I should watch something else, like maybe Stranger Things or something.
Did you end up accidentally paying for a month? Or?
No, I paid for a month on purpose, so I could watch Iron Fist, which is what I do every time a new Marvel Netflix.
Oh, I thought you were saying you had another month of.
No. I bought a month of Netflix so I could watch Iron Fist, and now I've got 3 weeks left and trying to decide on what to watch. Instead,
go ahead and watch Stranger Things. It's only 8 episodes, so you're not going to invest a whole lot of time into it, but it's definitely worth it.
I instead watched an anime this week called something someone recommended to me, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid or something. I said, all right. I watched the first 2 episodes and I went, oh, this is going to be a harem anime, isn't it? Because first episode, Miss Kobayashi, she's just a working person who goes to an office job and goes home, and then some woman with a dragon tail and wings and horns comes up and says, I love you and I'm going to live with you now. And she's like, okay. And then the next episode, another dragon girl comes and says, I love you too and I'm going to live with you now. And she's like, all right, cool. I'm like, every episode we're going to introduce more and more dragon girls, right? Until we've got like the full cast of 5 or so who live with her. That's what we're doing. Okay. Actually, no. Those are the only 2 that live with her. The other dragon beings that show up live on their own or live with other people, and it's not a great show, but it's it's charming and humorous enough to be watchable. Um, so it's there doesn't seem to be much of a overall, but I feel it's going to be one of those animes that um, an episode. It's going to be like a 24 episode anime where in episode 19 something huge happens, like the demon from the other world shows up, and the entire tone of the show changes, and people start dying, and it's these end of the world stakes, and 18 episodes prior to that is just these happy let's have a beach episode, let's have a hot springs episode, let's have the little dragon goes to school and has a sports festival episode, now let's put on a play for an old folks home episode, and then suddenly end of the world, stakes are high, I lost my arm and I'm pumping blood and people are dying and people are screaming and boiling alive, and it's like anime does that. So
yeah. Oh well. But Harry-san Dedorito says sucks that Rogue One wasn't very good. I disagree with you. I think it was. I thought it was really good, better than Episode 7. Episode 7 just did not work overall for me. It was all right, but Rogue One I thought was the better of the two new Star Wars movies, and I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. I think it could have been better. I felt that it didn't handle a lot. There was a lot of stuff that was set up that never followed through on. Brody, whatever his name is, the Imperial pilot who defects to the other side. That guy. He like gets a monster sucking out his brains, and they're like, we're going to get information from your head by the sucky leech monster, but it will drive you insane. And he has a headache for like a minute, and then it never comes up again. It's like, well, what was the point of that? What's her face has a like some kyber crystal thing that's set up like it's going to be something important, but never pays off. There's a lot of stuff in the film that's set up and just it's shot and delivered in a way where it's like, oh, pay attention, this is important. No. But that said, I enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't dislike the film. I just felt it made several wrong steps and could have been better. But anyway, I need to get back to work, so we're going to cut off.
We're at that hour mark, so
yeah. So thank you all for hanging out with us as we talked about superheroes. Hopefully we'll have a much more upbeat, pleasant show next week of talking about things we like rather than things that disappoint us. But in the meantime, Andrew Eisen here, Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube and you'll find my videos, including my latest one, which is an in-depth look at third-party games on the Nintendo Switch. Last October, Nintendo tweeted out an infographic boasting 45 or so different third-party companies it had partnered with to bring cool stuff to the Switch. This video is about 20 minutes long, and it goes through the companies one by one and looks at what has been released and announced so far. So give it a look, see what you think. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen, and my Facebook page is Andrew Eisen YouTube. Zachary?
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at Easy Night, where I talk about games, politics, and various other things that interest me. If you're interested in my game development work, you can check out DK_gaming on Twitter and DivineKnightGaming.com. I just recently completed a website builder for game developers if they want something simple to get a game up. And now I'm actually working on a game now, so I should look for screenshots of that soon. And also, if you're interested in the Oakland game development scene, you can check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and okgamedev.com. There's a lot of great games coming from people who live in this fine state. Or sometimes fine, because our politicians suck, even though our game developers are awesome. So, so there you go.
Needing to talk to you about that, Zachary. Anyway, yeah, we've got. I'm in California, so we've got great politicians now. Yeah, Leland Yee was from this state, so I'm not really one to talk. But I think the biggest problem is, really quickly, is a lot of the congressional district elections. No one knows when they are.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem because I saw a news story. It's like, oh, LA just had its congressional election and only 12% of the voters showed up. And it's like, I don't live in LA, but I didn't know it was the other week, whenever it was. I
Yeah.
didn't hear anything about it. I think that's probably the issue. Uh, Congress peoples, if you want people to vote for you, you're going to have to go to places where your constituents are paying attention, like YouTube or something. Because
Well,
I think the biggest problem is nobody knew there was an election. Everyone knows, the
it's
general
in the
presidential
best
election,
interest. Yeah, but
but
it's in the best interest of the politicians to
the
have as
incumbent,
few
yeah,
people show up as possible because it's easier to get elected.
that's
If you
true.
look at like school board elections where only like 200 people show up, it's way easier to get elected there because you can just pad the rolls with your friends and people that you know personally and get elected just off of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
so yeah.
Real quick, since people are asking about the Mario shadow on my wall, that's my stuffed animal stripper pole right there. So that's what's casting that shadow for those who are asking. I know it does kind of look like Mario, but anyway, that's the show for tonight. Thanks everyone for attending, and we'll see you back here next Saturday.
All
Take care,
right.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.